What's up, everybody? This is the next episode of Devin the Bear podcast. Welcome. Yay.
Woo!
Today we're going to be talking about the El Tigre and Next Fight Up boxing promotion that they put together. We got to go as media again. That was very fun, very nice of them to let us go out there and pretend that we're photographers and stuff like that. We had a lot of fun doing it, though, and I do feel like we got some pretty good pictures because these boxers went out there and put on a show. Yep. So it gave us a lot of opportunities to get some good shots. But better than that, we got to watch some really great fights.
For sure.
So it was opened up with Ahmad fighting Lamar and Bolton. That was a very fun way to open up the night. Yeah. It actually reminded me a lot of Chaz Harrison's fight.
Yeah.
Where they were just back and forth, really going after it. Yeah. I feel like these guys were both a little bit more technical. They with Chaz and his fight, they were both making their debut. These guys kind of knew a little bit more on what to go in there and do. So it was a little bit more technical, but it was still just as fun.
Yeah.
You saw some pretty good knockdowns, and then Ahmad ended up getting the finish.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting. What a really fun way to start that night.
Sorry. I had my camera because so Zach was up towards the ring taking pictures, and I was in the back getting some far shots. And as soon as I put the camera, took a picture, everybody goes ooh, and I was like, of course I missed the fucking knockout. I was upset that I missed it, but I mean, hey, at least we got some good pictures of it. But
yeah. Then we had David Stevens defeating Ronald Montes. Another really fun fight. It was another finish. It was after the third round, or was it going into the third round?
I want to say it was between the third and the fourth round.
David Stevens went out there very focused,
yeah,
and he put a hurting on him.
Yeah.
It was very fun. Both guys, again, just were going after it, but David definitely came out on top. And one thing that I really like about these events that El Tigre and Next Fight Up have put on is it's a cool atmosphere. So when you have fights like these and there's like one or two knockdowns, everybody's excited, and the crowd being so into it with the energy of the room, I think it keeps these fights exciting because the boxers here, and they definitely seem to feed off of it. So it's been really fun. And whenever we have these fights like these, it makes it even more fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you had Devontae Williams defeat Cleotis Pendarvis. Devontae just looked much better, I think. Nothing against Pendarvis, but Devontae was ready in that fight.
This was also one of those, man, like watching these guys fight, like they look like they're in two different weight classes.
Yeah.
Cleotis was shorter, stockier, and then Devontae was a big dude, man. Like whenever he walked past us, that dude has to be at least 6 foot, and he's very long. He uses his size very well. I mean, and watching that fight, I remember we were sitting there talking about it a little bit. This is one that we both just kind of sat back and were getting some good media for it. And just talking about it is Devontae was definitely fighting the 6-round fight. Cleotis kind of looked like he wasn't fully ready for the size that Devontae brought in. You know,
he was trying real hard for that knockout.
Yeah. And Devontae was just too smooth with it.
Yeah. You know? Then we had Elia Pequeño fighting Paola Ortiz. That was a very good fight.
Yeah. Paola showed tons of heart, but Elia, man,
Paolo got a knockdown pretty early on in that first round too, but Elia came back and wasn't backing down and ended up getting the finish as well. So I think that was for the ABO title.
Yeah.
For with the ABO organization. I guess that's redundant, but that was very exciting. She was very fun to watch. I look forward to watching her again in these events. So getting to follow her progress as an ABO champion now would be really fun. Because you're also seeing ABO's progress as a organization. So with how clean she looked, though, it's going to be interesting to see how well she adapts to the next fight. Because in this fight, she, like we said, she got knocked down pretty quick in the first round. So hoping that she can take that and adjust, kind of learn, maybe it's head movement, maybe it's footwork, whatever the coaches saw. I'd like to see her get better because she's got a lot of promise.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Aaliyah, she's an absolute force for her entire division. I mean, she's moving up the ladder quick. She has great support around her as well. It was really great to watch her win her first title out there also.
And then you had Ephraim, Bowie, and Austin Lewis. And this fight was very exciting right off the bat, too.
Yeah. This fight, man, like, as soon as this fight was done, I went up to Ephraim and just started talking to him. I had to. This kid was only 22 years old, going in there and just threw down. I mean, he landed some of the quickest punches I've seen in person. He dropped Austin Lewis pretty quick. Austin Lewis was making his professional boxing debut. He is MMA fighter, and he transitioned over just, I guess, to keep the experience going, you know, and get into different things. But Ephraim, you could just tell that dude trains hard, and he's been doing this for a long time. I mean, he hit him while he was falling.
Dude, it was insane.
Yeah.
They went out to touch gloves, and he just started popping them.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the flurry, of that same flurry, he's on the ground, and Ephraim's over there pumping his fist, screaming, hyped up.
Yeah, he's just doing the
choo-choo.
Yeah, the train. I was like, God, man. And
but then, again, though, the crowd was so into it. It was so fun.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think that that's something that kind of drove him to keep pushing in that fight and keep it exciting.
Yeah. And Lewis, man, he showed a lot of heart. You know, he went in there. It was obvious that Bowie had more of the experience going into this fight, but Lewis just kept fighting for it, and they were going back and forth. Dude, these guys were throwing down. Leading up to the finish, man, Ephraim just hit him with uppercut after uppercut.
Yeah, dude, those uppercuts.
They were nasty. You just see his head flying back and shit, and I was like, God, man. And then, like, while he's going to the ground, he's still hitting him with these uppercuts, just spamming it. It's like he was just spamming the triangle button, just nonstop. And it was just a really good win for him. I'm sure Lewis will be back. He showed a ton. Like I said, he showed a Warriors.
One of those
spirit,
where he might be too tough for his own good.
Yeah, he was definitely too tough for his own good. But he didn't quit though. You know, even I'm sure even after that first round, he had to grab himself by the bootstraps and go out there and do it. But he did the best that he could, and there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. You know. But Ephraim, I'll definitely be looking out for his fights very soon.
That's another person that we look forward to seeing more.
Yeah.
Getting to talk with them more.
Yeah. And so his family's there in full support as well. He had a lot of friends there, which is really good to see as well. You know, these people back up these amazing fighters. So, speaking of that, though.
That brings us to our boy, Carlos Nava.
Yeah.
Who is now 5-0 with the win over Jamar Robles Cintron. I feel like this is the kind of fight that we hadn't gotten to see from Carlos yet.
Yeah.
It was very tactical while still being aggressive. He was excited. I remember he was telling us that he was excited. It's a 6-round fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's my first 6-rounder. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Didn't need the 6 rounds.
No.
And I was actually sitting by one of the referees that night, ringside, and we were watching him fight, and I'm listening to the referee talk to one of the officials, and he was just like, "Oh man, this kid's just going off on him. Anytime he's like he's pacing himself. Anytime he goes off though, the other guy's just not ready for him." And I'm listening to him talk up Carlos and say the other guy just can't get anything going. Eventually, between whenever the bell rang and is to go to the corners, I was like, "Oh yeah, you're talking about Carlos, that guy over there?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, we're one of his sponsors. Pretty cool. I don't know if you're pretty cool, huh?" But I was like, "No, he's very good." So I started telling him a bit about Carlos, and he was like, "Yeah, well, he's got a future ahead of him."
No, for sure.
He's like, the way that he is able to keep his distance, and then once he does close distance, he just goes off, and it's in a way that is still he's still guarding himself. So he didn't really take a lot of shots in this fight, but I did see one moment where it looked like he maybe took a shot, and then afterwards when we were talking to him, he said it was a headbutt.
Yeah,
that kind of pissed him off.
Yeah, and you could tell too.
Yes, because he started throwing heavy. But yeah, amazing fight by Carlos. Just again, another finish. That's 5-0.
Yeah,
he's definitely gonna be moving on to bigger things, I think. That's a big performance. I know he had been talking to ABO.
Yeah.
We'll see what's happening there. He said that he doesn't know if he'll be fighting in Houston next. So if we're not able to make it, that's going to be kind of a bummer. But any chance we get to go watch Carlos, we're going to.
For sure. And I mean, definitely, if we'll definitely find a way to watch it like we always do, and we'll definitely share that with everybody who's listening, so we can keep these guys getting exposure that they deserve. They work so hard for, you know. At
and
least,
if you think you're not interested in watching Carlos, you're an idiot.
yeah, you're stupid. Come with us. Come watch greatness in the making. It's definitely something special when you watch them fight. Like whenever we sat here, I think I thought a lot about this also after we talked to them last night. I had talked to them about you know, is like you're very introverted, and sometimes some people take that the wrong way, and I made it clear, I was like, look, I'm not trying to offend you at all. Like I was like, I know some people are just naturally introverted, and that's okay. Some people just don't like to talk. But last night was the most I had seen that dude talk.
He was excited. Yeah, he was happy.
I mean, you know, and it's really nice to see somebody be themselves and come out of their element, you know, a little bit, and because he's doing his passion, and we get to sit there and watch him enjoy it and win, and keep showing why he's going to be a very well-touted name, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think him, Houston Strength and Aslan Boxing,
yeah,
that's just such a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody stops Carlos anytime soon.
I don't think so either. So, on to the rest of the card, we saw Pablo Cruz defeat Yuri Andujar.
I think Andujar won that fight.
Yeah. Oh, I really don't remember, to be honest with you. Because I was actually more focused on the Lopez versus Darmos fight.
Yeah, that was such a fun fight.
Actually, Pablo did win that fight.
He did?
Yeah, he did win that. That was the fight. Remember, we were trying to do the interview with him, and the crowd was going crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
good Lord, yeah, then that fight was insane.
Yeah. Because I remember my back was to you all the entire fight to get it. What's up?
Ruining my audio.
Yeah, but was it worth it, though?
Yeah.
And so that fight, because I didn't get to really watch that fight because we were trying to get the video.
We were
recording.
talking with Carlos and doing the interview.
Yeah.
And at one point, Carlos even stopped. He's like, "I'm sorry, I gotta watch."
Yeah, they were throwing down, dude. The crowd was going crazy for it, in which I think it was getting later in the night. Everybody had a couple of drinks, so we needed a fight like that, and that's exactly what we got. It was actually really cool. I was ringside taking some pictures, and I see Pablo and his his significant other over there, and his kids were like, "Dad, Dad," and he comes like while he's walking to the back. It was a draw. Was it? Oh, that's what it was.
Okay, it was a draw. That was the draw.
That's right.
Majority draw.
And they both were. Everybody's always disappointed with the draw, but they embrace each other. They show each other tons of respect. But that moment though, whenever he was like walking to the back, and he told security guys, "Hey, I gotta tell my kids hi," and he like went over there and had a moment with his family, which is always cool to see, you know. And they sat and they watched the majority of those fights, you know, just as fans after that. So, so on to the rest of the card, we saw Alfonso El Tigre Lopez, promoter for El Tigre Promotions, obviously, in case you didn't know who he was.
He's the face of the organization.
Yeah. And he's a really nice guy, too.
He's super down to earth, and he's just a very cool guy, family man.
Yeah.
But this fight was a tough one.
Yeah. He took on Joseph Darmos, a Hungarian boxer who's 14-2 coming into this.
Tough as nails.
Yeah.
My God. This guy was just...
They fought 10 rounds for the Bridgerweight 225-pound title. It was the NABF world title. And like you said, that dude was tough, man. He went in there. The only reason why that fight got stopped was because of the doctor.
Yeah, he had this huge cut over his eye.
Yeah.
But there were several times he put his hands down and just walked down Alfonso, and Alfonso's like, "Okay, I'm gonna hit you."
Yeah. And
he hit him, and he didn't stop.
Yeah, he didn't. It was so, especially when the fight started, it kind of started a little bit of a stalemate. These guys, you could tell they pack a lot of power. Alfonso is a huge dude, and you don't really realize how big he is until he steps in the ring. Because I stand, of course, like he's big compared to me.
Yeah,
he's almost like a foot taller than me. But like when you see him get in the ring, man, like he's solid 220, and you see him taking on Joseph, and that guy's same exact thing. He looks like the freaking Baba Yaga. He's tattooed not really everywhere, but tattoos, all that stuff, man. Just looks like he's been in a couple of fights, a couple too many, more like. But he's. He went in there and he showed a lot of heart, but Alfonso just he not only did he fight the longer fight, you know,
because I think he actually got dropped pretty early too. It could have been a trip. He could have tripped, but I know he got
right back
hit.
up pretty quick.
Yeah,
and, I think he did get dropped because he was walking back to his corner. He was limping a little bit, and but he recovered very fast. He shows why he's been doing this for so long, you know. I mean, so he was 36-4 going into this, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good record, especially at the weight class that he competes at. And I mean, he was fighting kind of a long fight at first, but then when he started turning it up, he turned it up heavy.
Yeah.
He was putting it on Joseph.
Darmos was pushing real hard.
Yeah.
And it was pretty constant. And anytime that they tied up, I was like, if the ref doesn't pull them apart, someone's going to break away with a heavy hook. And a couple of times that did happen, and Alfonso dropped Darmos, and he got dropped hard a couple of times. One of them was right next to me where I was taking pictures. It was in the corner, and I swear that dude's head hit that mat hard.
Yeah. It did. It did. It smacked hard, man. But I actually, so Alfonso getting the doctor stoppage pretty late into the fight, and I was actually taking pictures of another fight, and I stopped and talked to Joseph for a little bit, told him, hey man, you had a great fight, and he saw me with the camera in his broken English. He's like, you take pictures? I'm a very bad Russian accent, and he's like, you take pictures? And I was like, yes sir, I take pictures and stuff like that. He said, you get pictures of my fight? And I said, yeah. And so he's like, you have a email? And gave him the email, and we're pretty excited to get those pictures to him, man, because I think that's the least he deserves is a couple of pictures of his fight.
I mean, I'm very happy Alfonso won.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm a fan now of Joseph Darmos. Yeah. That was a very fun fight. It was like a movie, like from the 80s movie. It's just like a Rocky.
Yeah.
You have the crowd favorite, and then you have the Russian who's just putting his hands down and walking in his face.
I will break you.
It was intense. The whole fight was freaking crazy.
It was, man. And Alfonso was hyped up whenever, especially when he's coming out. There was a certain aura that he gave off to the crowd, We were all excited to finally see him step in the ring, and but yeah, they threw down, and it was all around good fight. Congratulations to Alfonso Lopez,
and Tigre.
Yeah, and also to Joseph Darmos. I mean, a great fight, showed a lot of heart.
And then we had Eugene Hill take on Isaiah Jones.
Yeah,
another fight where the crowd was pretty much going crazy from start to finish.
These guys were going at it. Eugene Hill Jr. I watched his last fight whenever he headlined a card. This guy was already headlining cards when I last saw him fight. This is I can't recall the month. It was over the summer. It was the same as that card his dad retired on. Was when I went to go watch. That was the next fight up. Was promoting that card, and we saw them fighting, dude, and they went at it. Eugene Hill pulled off the decision win, and I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't a knockout win with how these guys were throwing.
Neither one would back down.
Yeah,
both had moments where they looked like they could have gotten the finish, but because neither guy would back down, it just wasn't going to stop. So it kept going, and you definitely see Eugene had the upper hand. I'd say the whole fight. I feel like he just landed the better. He had the better of the combinations, and he had forward pressure the whole time.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand him getting the nod there.
Yeah. I definitely understand why too. I mean, I can't wait to watch that dude fight again for sure. So, also we saw Erickson Garcia defeat D'Angelo Keys and Erickson Garcia defended his super featherweight championship belt.
That fight was very interesting. You had both guys. They were, I don't know. I feel like it was very closely matched up. Erickson was a bit more elusive. And D'Lo had to keep pushing, and anytime he would, Erickson would hold him. And I was sitting next to his corner, so there was a little bit of bias.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I was like, man, I want D'Lo to go in there and just put this guy to sleep, because this dude was like smiling at him and dancing around and laughing, and I mean, he's just having fun because he's not getting touched up yet. But as the fight went on, it definitely started happening. You started seeing both guys get hit. And I think there was a couple of times where Erickson got knocked down, and then later in the rounds, Keys started getting knocked down.
Yeah.
So it was just very back and forth. But I wasn't surprised with Erickson getting the decision win. He just had the upper hand the whole time. And I think all of the clinching and the holding, it definitely worked out to his advantage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Erickson just was one step ahead of everything. Anytime he ever switched stances, he was just going at it. He could land that power shot every single time, and he was doing it. He would switch to southpaw, land it, and land that back left. He would switch to his right, he would land that right. So good job on Erickson for another good fight.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, these guys are champions for a reason. And
I feel like the crowd was split with that one.
Yeah.
Because you had the half, like towards the concession, they seemed to be for Erickson, and then the other half seemed to be for Keys.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting. I'd noticed that kind of early on, but I think I was in front of Erickson's family.
Yeah.
And then on the other side was Keys' family.
Yeah,
so
I was right by Garcia's family as well.
You were by Garcia, so you were back there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was right there by
pointing
concessions.
back there as if it's,
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. But yeah, they were hyped up. But man, Erickson had a great fight. Keys did the best that he could, man. But
yeah, and he didn't disappoint really either, because
No.
he went after it the whole time. But that takes us to the main event, which was Ivan Vasquez taking on Steven Andrade. And Steven Andrade, it's a little short notice. Ivan was originally set to take on Juan Velasquez, and he pulled out. So we had Ivan look very ready for this fight. He paced himself. He was very calm, collected, but his shots were heavy. He was hitting to the body. He was hitting to the head, and they looked bad.
Yeah.
And eventually you had Andrade throwing up in his corner. I wasn't able to see if he was throwing up blood or anything like that, or if he was just spitting out water and he just couldn't breathe right and get up. But they ended up stopping it after the second round, I believe.
Yeah, right. I want to say it's between I thought it was between the first and the second.
It could have been, but I think it was after the second. I could be wrong, but man, amazing by Ivan. That again, Aslan Boxing is just such a perfect fit for these guys, because the way that they approach it, it's so aggressive but smart. They're not going out there and just swinging. They're picking their shots. They're working the combinations, and they're doing the techniques to a T. So it gets them the win every single time in the same fashion.
Yeah, no, it's insane. It's insane watching these guys do it. Like you said, they fight like a vintage Mexican boxer.
Yeah.
Except they just take what the game of boxing has evolved to with just great defense, and they're adding it to their arsenal. Shout out to Coach Ivan Vasquez. I mean, that guy is doing some amazing things over there at Slan Gym, and he's doing incredible right there. And you know what he has his son doing with Ivan Vasquez Jr. and now what he has Carlos doing as well.
Yeah,
we're seeing why they're so good, and it's, I mean, especially with boxing. I mean, the better the coach, the better the fighter. You know, with a strong fighter, you have a strong coach backing them up. He's keeping these guys very clear-headed, very level-headed. You know.
Is that 7-0 for Ivan, or is he 8-0 now? I think he's 8-0.
I'm sure he's 8-0.
I think it's 8-0.
Yeah.
Punch to the body. It was just like he was telling us last time. That's that number 5. So sorry, Andrade, but you got ordered the number 5 special.
Yeah, right. And so also, man, we met some really great people out there. So
yeah, it was very fun. We both ran into some old friends as well.
Yeah,
or I know I did. So it was cool to see them out there. It was good to meet Alexis Chavaria. I'm so sorry. I totally just blanked. Freaking the Wolf. That's all I got to say. A Lobo. It was really fun talking to you, man. You were super cool, if you're listening. But, yeah, amazing event. El Tigre and Next Fight Up put on a great promotion event, and I'm excited to go to the next one.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. These guys definitely do us right. I mean, they always, the second we go in there, they treat us right. They've taken us in, and you know, we started off at first really just talking about MMA. Of course, we talked about boxing here and there, but they have definitely made us bigger fans of boxing. The way that they've treated us, letting us come in, you know, 2 guys who just started a podcast back in April and trying to get a footing somewhere, and they just tell us, you know, y'all are more than welcome to come and work media, and just by reaching out to them. So thank you to Next Fight Up and also to El Tigre Promotions for letting us continue to do this and grow our brand and work out with your people.
We look forward to the next one. And again, if you want to look into Carlos Nava, it's He Dreams Boxing on Instagram. And Ivan Vasquez is Vasquez Ivan on Instagram. You definitely want to follow these guys if you're fans of boxing. I promise you won't be disappointed.